Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Yet another Kern County community considers adding In God We Trust to its police vehicles. We'll tell you which one, plus an update on the effort in Bakersfield.
And today is the day to roll up your sleeves and save a life. We are kicking off a community-wide blood drive today. We'll tell you about all the prizes and giveaways for donors when Kevin heads inside the Bloodmobile.
She started coming to Pacifica Senior Home because of her grandma, and 10 years later, Emily Lynch is still lighting up residents with her signature laugh and inspirational outlook. Tabitha Mills shares her story on this Tuesday, June 4th, 2019.
You can see we start out in the 70s, but this afternoon I do expect to warm up. By 3 o'clock, we'll be right near 96, so take it easy out there. Tehachapi, you're at 55 right now with a west-northwest wind at 6. Throughout the day, starting out in the 50s, and then this afternoon, we are expected to be in the lower 80s by 3. So overall, a warm-up in store. We'll talk much more about that in just a little bit.
We begin this morning with international news. Central London on lockdown. Police are stepping up security for day 2 of President Trump's state visit to the UK. Huge rallies are planned to protest the president's visit. Today, Trump is joining British Prime Minister Theresa May for a day of talks. The two leaders will meet with corporate executives from the United States and United Kingdom before an afternoon news conference. They say their top priorities a possible bilateral trade deal to take effect once the UK leaves the European Union. Meantime, coming up in about 40 minutes, NBC News will broadcast a special report as we await that joint news conference between President Trump and British Prime Minister Theresa May. We will be streaming that live on our KGET Facebook page.
It is 5:04 now at noon this morning. It is business as usual again after tense moments at the U.S.-Mexico border in Southern California. What sounded like fireworks turned out to be something much worse. Shots were fired after a driver heading into the United States from Mexico refused to stop at the border. This happened late yesterday at the San Ysidro port of entry. Customs and Border Patrol agents have not said whether they opened fire or the driver fired at them. The shooting stopped northbound traffic for about 30 minutes, but did not affect people headed into Mexico. San Diego police are investigating the shooting.
It's 5:04 now. His fate is now in the hands of a Kern County jury. Closing arguments wrapped up yesterday in a decades-old cold case murder trial. 61-year-old Prentice Foreman's accused of killing Dawn Coons back in 1979. Her body was found naked in a bathtub with her hands bound in a pillowcase over her head. Police arrested Foreman in 2017 after investigators retested evidence from the crime scene and got a hit. Yesterday, attorneys spoke to the jury for the last time before deliberations began. 17 News was in court, but our cameras were not able to capture defense attorney Dana Kinnison's closing arguments, though his point was similar to the one he made on the first day of trial.
Sexual intercourse doesn't equate to murderer.
Meanwhile, the state argues Foreman's DNA was at the crime scene not because he'd had consensual sexual encounter with Coons, but because he assaulted and strangled her. We'll continue tracking this case for you and bring you an update as soon as the jury has reached a verdict.
Shafter may be the next police department adding our country's motto to their vehicles. Tonight, the city council will hear the proposal from a group of pastors to add the decals. The meeting is set for 6 o'clock tonight at City Hall on Pacific Avenue. You may remember in April, the city of Delano voted to add similar decals to its police cruisers. And last month, Bakersfield city leaders also heard a similar proposal and plan to discuss it at a city council meeting tomorrow night.
The Renegades will be back at their stadium by fall football season. That's according to Bakersfield College President Sonia Christian. Work at the stadium started in April. In a blog post, Christian says construction's moving along nicely. The renovation's being funded through Measure J, which voters approved back in 2016.
Well, graduation season has come and gone, and seniors aren't the only ones who won't be returning to the high school classroom in the fall. Last night, the Kern High School District honored more than 30 people retiring, among them Wade Tavorn, who spent 19 years at Foothill High School.
It's a great feeling after you put in a long time. I think the journey was the best part of the experience, but the destination is the beginning of a new chapter.
The Board of Trustees recognized each retiree with a plaque commemorating their years of service to the district.
5:07 now. Today is the first day on the job for several dozen Kern County Sheriff's deputies.
The last few weeks have been exhilarating. We're finally understanding everything we've been taught for this career.
That's one of the KCSO's newest detentions deputies. He and 35 others graduated from the academy yesterday. KCSO posted these pictures and video of the ceremony on Twitter. Congratulations to the newest additions to Kern County's finest.
Welcome back. It is 5:17 now, and you could say it's been her home for nearly 10 years.
17th Tabitha Mills introduces us to Emily Lynch, a dedicated volunteer at a local senior living facility.
That's right. Good morning, Maddie and Alex. Emily Lynch, a special needs adult in our community, says it was God who led her to Pacifica Senior Living, where she surely has been a blessing.
I like volunteering very, very much. It's coming from my heart.
If you ever stop by Pacifica Senior Living in Southwest Bakersfield, chances are you'll hear this.
I knew your grandma, yes.
A signature, warm and friendly laugh from Emily Lynch, a volunteer here.
I love it here. This is my family.
The 43-year-old started coming to Pacifica to visit her grandmother, part of a divine plan, according to Emily.
The one person that brought me here to work is God. I love God. He inspires me.
When her grandmother died, Emily continued to stop by the senior community, spending time with residents, helping wherever she could.
Help with activities and just listen and to be a friend to the residents.
Now, nearly 10 years later, she's a fixture here. A dependable volunteer with an infectious personality.
N43. I like to help a lot. I really, really do, because that's my job. I love it.
We love seeing Emily here every day. She puts smiles on all of our faces.
A week at Pacifica just isn't complete without Emily.
She's very special to me.
Yeah, that's true.
Emily knows Pacifica and other senior facilities in our community rely on her and other volunteers. So for you volunteers out there who may feel overwhelmed or unappreciated, pause for a moment and know you are important. Our community couldn't do it without you. And if you need a little motivation, just listen to Emily.
Always try, just don't give up hope. Just keep up what you're doing.
Our community has so many wonderful volunteers like Emily, and a personal thank you to every volunteer watching this morning. No matter how small or big your role is, you are helping make a difference in our community, and we really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
A big thank you to Emily.
Yeah, big thank you to Emily.
Right,
thanks, Tabs. Back here at 522 in business news, a popular chain restaurant's honoring nurses nationwide today by offering a buy one, get one free deal for lunch and dinner. Chipotle wants to thank nurses. All nurses with a valid nursing license or ID can get a free burrito, burrito bowl, salad, or order of tacos when they buy a meal of equal or lesser value. The promotion's happening at Chipotle locations across the country today, including here in Kern County. Chipotle says because the company knows nurses have crazy schedules, their promotion is valid from when the restaurant doors open this morning until they close tonight. We're learning more this morning about what the sale of a local family paper could mean for news consumers here in Bakersfield. After being family-owned for 122 years, the Bakersfield Californian has a new owner. On Sunday night, the Harold Fritz family released a statement announcing it sold the paper and its ancillary publications, including Tehachapi News. Canadian publisher Stephen Malkowicz bought the Californian. The paper's previous owners say they have confidence in Malkowicz taking over. But the union representing the paper staff is calling the now former owners cowardly for how they announced the sale. In a statement, the union said in part, quote, "We sit here in disgust as we write, knowing that the previous owner cowardly chose to notify the public of the sale on a weekend while not showing an ounce of respect for their now previous employees by advising us first." Now the question turns to how the new owner will run the paper. CSUB journalism professor Jennifer Berger, who worked for the Californian for 6 years, says there are a number of possibilities.
There might be some consolidation. There might be some loss of staff, maybe some senior staff. They may decide not to print every day of the week. A lot of newspapers have reduced to just a couple of times a week and not every day. I hope not. I hope that the new owner comes in and sees opportunities.
Late yesterday, Malkowicz released a statement that read in part, quote, "Rest assured that we are making the purchase of the Bakersfield Californian and ancillary publications with the intent to continue on the publishing of the daily newspaper in Kern County. The sale is expected to become final June 30th. Well, new troubles for the aviation industry. The FAA is warning hundreds of Boeing 737 planes, both older versions and some of the grounded MAX fleet, may have faulty parts on their wings due to a manufacturing problem. NBC's Ann Thompson explains.
The latest headache for Boeing involves the slat tracks on the front of the wings of certain next-generation 737 and those grounded 737 MAX planes. The planes involved in 2 fatal crashes that killed 346 people in Ethiopia and Indonesia.
Even though this particular problem is not that major in terms of an unsafe condition, because it's happening in the wake of these 2 horrific accidents, that ramps up the hit that Boeing's going to take in its overall reputation.
The FAA warning the tracks which move the slats that assist in the plane's liftoff may have been improperly manufactured and could fail or crack, but wouldn't result in the loss of aircraft. The FAA says the airlines must inspect and remove the affected parts within 10 days. Boeing CEO Dennis Muhlenberg today on CNBC.
This particular issue around the slat tracks is a well understood one and one that we'll work our way through quickly, but it is something that we're going to stay very coordinated with our customers. We know it's important and we want to minimize the disruption to our customers.
The warning involves 312 planes, 65 in the U.S. Boeing says this issue is unrelated to the deadly crashes likely caused by the flawed anti-stall system. Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
Thanks for listening to the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's a 15-minute summary of everything you need to know about Kern County. There's a new episode every weekday.